Hello everyone, this is Cookies, and it looks like this morning we had a turn roll, which was turn 35. It's now the afternoon, so a fair number of people have done their turns. However, I did get a little bit spoiled by some of the game chat, so I do know we get our at least one long-awaited showdown between Atlantis and Agartha. So this should be a pretty fun turn. All right, let's go ahead. We got no messages. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Let's see. First up, we've got a little point buff group. And it's just an ice guard, so some guy left on a fort, retreating from the fort in Flemistan. The classic group of cave knights. Just gonna go casually kill a few barbarians. Okay. And then Roka. What do we got here? Got an Earth 2 Alchemist. Alright, but just a little bit of PD, not a big deal. I would think a stack this big would warrant some of the Necromancers, but we'll see. Glen of Justice. Caelum's starting to move on TNG. There's a fair amount of stuff here. This might be Fort PD, so you might be trying to shut down a fort here. Giant Strength Warriors and Marble Warriors. These are now 21 Protection Raven Guard. They do have a Cold Malice, which in the cold weather I believe can fatigue them out pretty bad. And although I don't know the exact math on that. And they've also got a strength buff, so they hit for 20 and 17. Is that all the leadership? Almost. Yeah, let's see. Cold 2. Okay. I don't know exactly what that does. I'd have to look it up. It does look like they're fatiguing out a bit faster. Let's see. What is it? Melee encumbrance is 6. You can look at the beginning of the battle to see what it would look like. Let's see. Still 6. Maybe it just doesn't affect them in the cold. I would have thought they would have gotten extra fatigue, but maybe they don't. All right, Marignon attacking Iron Caverns. So they're now going to find out about the steel ovens. If they hadn't already been told by Agartha, maybe this is one of the forts that he was offering to sell. Alright. In Kafir, we've got Caelum. Going after Agartha. So I guess the fire sale continues. He was offering to sell assets for gold, if I read that right. Okay. So loses 8 Raven Guard but takes it. Atlantis moves on Agartha. Got a little stack. All right, give me 1 sec. Sorry about that. Oh, phone went off. It does mean that we kind of missed that battle, but there wasn't a lot happening in it anyways. I think that, where was that? We just saw that, so this was Atlantis killing PD, and now we've got Solkar, Tianchi attacking Caelum. So we have a fairly reasonably big army here. We've got corpse constructs to catch, attack, rear. We've got a buff circle. We've got poison ward, relief. Oh. We also have Caelum's main army. So death weapons, air shield, poison resistance. Kaka is here as well. Now relief goes up from the bird. TNG's putting up foul vapors and gift of winter. Giant strength warriors. Poison ward. And winter ward. Okay. So Hal goes up from Caelum. I'm curious. Okay, so it's heat 0 here. So you know what we're working with. Oh, they don't have any cold res. Here's a thug up front. I think because he's being so tanky. He did summon Earth Power, Stone Skin, Temper Flesh, and then ran in. It does have some resists, so a little fairly sturdy. And here's a White Mage Thug as well. Misform, Protective Winds, and Invulnerability. Yeah, they both got, I think, the same kits, which is a GSS, Armor of the 5 Elements, Boots of Messenger. Well, I guess one has a horned helmet, the other one has a dragon helmet and Boots of the Messenger. The armies of TNG are routed. Corpse constructs are dissolving. The thug's trying to get away. We'll see if he does. An interesting strategy, though, with the foul vapors here. Caelum does have 5 poison resist, so it'll kill them over time, but not particularly quickly. Grip of Winter, though, considering these Earthbounds have no cold resistance, was indeed a pretty interesting play. Yeah, they don't have a natural protection buff. Okay, so yeah, they don't come with cold res. Unfortunately, he didn't hit his own army with enough casts of Winter Ward. So unfortunately, until Grip of Winter goes down, I think he runs a high chance of losing a bunch of his mages. This white mage should get away, though. Maybe we can speed it up a little bit. Grip of Winter goes down. Things might start waking up soon, but will they wake up in time? There are a fair number of wolves to the rear to try and block units up. These TNG troops are out cold. Any gear on these guys? Matrices. Fairy in a bottle. Looks like a couple of mages will get away at the last second. Stop watching though. Alright. So pretty significant victory for Caelum here. And I believe the second major victory for that army. So this was in Solkar. Kills an Ancestor Smith, 3 Masters of the Way, a Spirit Master, a White Mage. So that's 5 mages plus a high investment mage. Twice Born is not necessarily the cheapest. It's 10 death gems. So knocking all that out, knocking out, 15 Ancestor Vessels is a few turns of production, maybe. It might be as low as 2 now, but I imagine it's a little bit over 2. 41 Barb Heavy Horseman is pretty solid. Let's see, did he just hire these Keshiks? It seems like it. I don't think his hero died in this. On the flip side, though, he did kill 44 of the Earthbound, which was pretty solid. And 80, almost all of the regular crossbowmen. He killed 88 of the regular crossbows. The Earthbounds had that poison resist from the Bless, so they handled it a little bit better. What this does do is reduce a lot of the killing power for this army and a lot of the siege strength for this army. So it might have to pull back to get some reinforcements, or it can be joined by Raven Guard. Okay. So that was a pretty impactful battle. We'll have to see that on the campaign map in a minute. In Hidden Realm, let's see, we've got a ceremonial master going up against the militia. Okay, they make short work of them. In Nashen, we've got Caelum attacking Tianchi. So we've got a group of Draconians. So we're going to do some Earth Gem stuff with E1s. There is more here than you would think for Tianchi. So we've got an E3 Ancestor Smith. There are a handful of sacreds here. There's also a number of Barb Heavy Horsemen and some crossbows. You can see some of the buffs on the left here. So, some of the TNG troops are added, but the quality is stuck around. So TNG takes this one. Kills 26 Draconians, loses only 1 Sacred and 3 Barb Heavy Horse. Not a bad trade. Alright. And then in Golem, we've got Marignon attacking Agartha. So we've got some more little Bakemono. Multiple players using these little parties. Their attack density is still good enough for taking out PD. Alright. Also got Atlantis attacking Agartha. Okay, so this is the big army. Alright, this is our big Doomstack fight between two of the larger players. We have across the entire battlefield 2 lines of Ice Guard for Atlantis, with a kind of like a third line, but it's maybe only covering half the battlefield. We have 2 large contingents of Unsleepings backing up each flank, and then a fair number of mages here with Ice Guard bodyguards. On the other side, oh, and I forgot to look at the equipment in that TNG fight, so hopefully I'll remember to do that after this. We've got a blind fighters, so 2 lines of blind fighters, but they're smaller lines. I think if they were a single line, they would almost be as wide as one of the lines of Ice Guard. We've got 4 even shorter lines of crossbows. We've got the sepulcrals. And we've also got a number of mages. We've got some sappers, and we've got a reserve line of blind fighters. In terms of the gear and gems, I imagine this is going to be a lot. So the Adept of the Golden Order is Earth Gems. This guy's got water 3 with water. We've got the SC, we've seen this guy before. I don't think his kit has changed. The Dracolich with Death Gems, maybe our Rigor Mortis caster this time. We've got the Eternal Night Merc with his Flambeau. Also enormous strength. An Astral Forgiving Father, S2. Another Earth one. An Astral one at S2. We have the Atlantis Pretender, who is a great sage. I thought he was also Black Dragon. Yeah, he's a shape changer. So he's in the human form. And that's so he can have earth boots and pin gear and a crown of lead. What I think this guy is going to do is Curse of Stones as part of as maybe part of like a counter fatigue play, but we'll have to see what he does. We've got fire gems, maybe a fire elemental, maybe some water elementals from different alchemists. We have a Chthonian necromancer. Maybe a backup rigor mortis caster, or maybe darkness. I don't know what's going to go up this battle. They've done a pretty good job surprising me. We've got Leaf Song, the Lumber Construct. My only disappointment is he was not renamed. But he's got some of the bogus gear, Precious, Greenstone Armor, Holy Scourge. The Agarthan Gem Mule is in this battle. So we've got, a lot of gems that could potentially just get wasted. We've got an Oracle, a Servant of the Oracles, with some Earth. A little bit more Earth, a little bit more Earth from these Oracle Servants. And then we have a Wizard of High Magics who's got 4 fire gems, and he's fire 2. Also for Agartha. Alright, and so I think what we'll do is we'll watch the battle and then maybe try to break it down. But yeah, clearly the Atlantis army is a lot larger. So, yeah, we've got a really decisive victory by Agartha here. And just when I had thought that, Atlantis didn't have any counters yet, and so maybe they were trying to dodge the fight until they picked up a certain counter. I don't know that Curse of Stones is the right counter. At least for this particular problem that Atlantis was giving him. So let's go ahead and see the battle report. Atlantis loses one cap only, the lumber construct with gear, 2 merciful mothers, 10 priests, 2 snow captains, 43 of 45 sacreds, 330 ice guard, 71 unsleeping. On Agartha's side, he loses a blind lord, 3 alchemists, 2 scouts. I did not check to see if the gem mule scout died, but we can do that. And 4 servants of the oracles. Lost some number of crossbows. Crossbows, I think, tend to do a little bit better under fatigue plays because I believe shooting their weapons does not cost fatigue. So they were only taking fatigue when they moved, or if they were in melee. 1 sapper died. Only 34 of the blind fighters died, and he lost 12 of the sepulcrals, but also did the vast majority of the killing with them. Anything that wasn't killed by them basically was killed by just a long dead swarm. Okay, so I guess the second part of this is let's go find our gem mule and find out what happens to him. Okay, so here's the gem mule. I do think it's interesting that both sides tried to do fatigue plays on each other. Agartha. Why? Okay, so Agartha's out a shit ton of gems. It might be worth counting. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 16, 17. 3, 6, 9, 10. So I think that's 37 gems down the drain. And he was talking about trying to trade for death gems in the game chat to replace the sepulcrals. There might have been done some on the scout, so to speak. Okay. So we know what happened to that scout. The next question is, was it the thug that died for Atlantis? So we know he lands here. Okay, so he's down to 25 HP. At 36 protection, he does have enough protection to shrug off a lot of crossbows. Where did he go? Okay, so he's still around somewhere. Just gotta find him. Oh, he just moved. Okay. Alright, where did he go now? Did he retreat now? Wait, what? Yeah, this guy has the axe of sharpness. So he got overwhelmed by long dead. Okay. I believe if I open up Discord, I believe the Agarthan player posted a little bit of his loot box because he was hoping to trade for death gems. All right. So Agartha did end up picking up the Axe of Sharpness, the Ice Aegis, the Storm Armor, Boots of the Messenger, an Amulet of Resilience, a Holy Scourge, a Dragon Helmet, Greenstone Armor, and Precious. So you picked up a lot of the loot from this battle. That was despite a couple of scripting mistakes. So he had his Gem Mule in the battle, which generally you don't want. Apparently he forgot to move and patrol some mages, so there were some mages absent from the fight, although he did have pretty adequate mage support, all things considered. Did have he got off the spells that he wanted to get off, and he got off a fair amount of point buffing. Maybe some more point buffing could have kept his other sepulchrals alive, but he got an extreme amount of value out of them. And I suppose we can look at some of the buffs here. Okay, so Atlantis, I believe I saw some Spell Ward, which is the AoE 20 version of Anti-Magic, which gives +4 MR. That's really helpful against Rigor Mortis because it has an MR check now. But he did not have Anti-Magic for the whole army. So yeah, some stuff got it, but other stuff did not. So he was probably hoping some of his mages would maybe get a fair amount of Skelly spam out, but it looks like this one's content to do banishment spells, like pull from the grave, with the sepulchrals right in front of him. We can see the Curse of Stones, that was pin boosted. You can see it got almost all the blind fighters, and they were 13 MR. So pretty much all of them are passed out. They're also, I believe, affected by Rigor Mortis. So they got a double whammy on a lot of them. But there were enough of them, and they're annoying enough to kill, and that the Dracolich back here was able to make some Skelly spam to help out the sepulchrals and guarantee a lot of kills. Yeah, so the Ice Guard are immune to the... Oh, but he didn't do Grip of Winter, did he? So what magic did Atlantis do? Got an air shield. Yeah, you can see spell word here, and that's the AoE 20 anti-magic. Got some turn 1 protection spells. We've got Curse of Stones. I forgot to check if the Pretender died as well. We got some invulnerabilities, some Horde of Skeletons. Three or four twice-born white mages. If he could have brought those in as a surprise for this battle, I think might have tilted the whole battle in his favor. That might have been enough to outdo the Dracolich. But it was not to be. Now, were a fair number of these mages twice-born? Is he going to get them back? Nope. So I probably overused Twiceborn. This player is not a Twiceborn enjoyer. So we are not going to see a lot of Twiceborn out of him. Also looks like we're not going to see it. Now, these guys aren't really worth Twiceborn, but the Necromancer would be worth it. Yeah. Like, this would totally be worth Twiceborning, in my opinion. Those are really good paths. Alright. So, yeah, that's a comprehensive defeat, I would say. Agartha does have to replace those sepulchrals for this army to continue to function as a sort of bully against Atlantis stacks. But Atlantis combining everything here kind of guaranteed the big defeat in my mind. And he didn't bring any new magic from what I could tell, aside from Curse of Stones, to try and tilt things in his favor. And generally speaking, in kind of low magic engagements, which I kind of consider this low magic, it was there were some point buffs and you had the fatigue play, but there wasn't a lot of other big battlefields going up. There was no howl, there was no foul vapors. There was less magic in my opinion in this battle than what there was in the Marignon fight. If I'm not completely brain dead and saying the wrong faction, but in the other big fight that we saw this turn. So, what was that? It was Tianqi and Caelum. I was thinking of the wrong faction. So we saw more magic in that battle, I'm pretty sure, than we saw in this one. And when you have a really basic fatigue play like this, a lot of the time, in my opinion, the person that brings more undead mages tends to win the battle because they just do more Horde of Skeletons. And Agartha brought a Dracolich, and Atlantis brought Spell Ward, and the Dracolich easily carried that along with the 18 Sepulchrals. So it would take a fair amount of Skelly spam to probably try and overwhelm these guys and maybe push past them. But there wasn't anything coming from these cap-only mages. So, yeah, that's a pretty hefty defeat. So the question is how much can Agartha exploit this defeat? He was kind of pushed up against the wall. So how much space is he going to make for himself out of this defeat? And how many diplomatic waves can he make? Is this enough to get Marignon to maybe buy into attacking Atlantis with him? So we'll just have to wait and see. Rather than vulturing him like we saw here in Golem. Alright. So we have the last gasp of Satis. There shouldn't be anything inside. We can just speedrun this. This is a merc company. So Marignon's doing the same tactic he's done very well throughout this war, which is using a combination of mercs, very expendable swordsmen, with a few of the more expensive royal guards that he's willing to lose out on mixed in. It wouldn't shock me if he might pull some that had afflictions, but it doesn't seem like it. So, but these are the ones he's willing to write off, is kind of how I interpret it. And then he's got his big block of crossbows. Alright. So that's GG for Satis. The wall archers did pick off a mage. They love doing that. I think it's the price of taking a lot of mid-game forts, is you just lose a mage. Because I think that first wave of bolts can come in before a lot of first turn buffs, depending on distance. So if they're close enough to do evocations, they're often close enough to get hit by archers. And he also loses a missionary. That's not a big deal. 8 Burgmeister guards, not a big deal. I'll have to, yeah, Hoburg champion. I think this is Fordo Boggett's mercenaries, and then he loses 8 crossbows and a swordsman. So perfectly acceptable. Doesn't even lose any of the devils, and the devils are really nice. Caelum also storms Pyrene. Yeah, legitimate storm attempt. So let's see. But we get a very early spawn for the Pyrene Frostfather. Is it turn? I guess it's not that early. It's turn 35-ish. He hasn't had a chance to pick up gear for this guy or probably get much meaningful research, so he's just kind of sitting here. Pyrene player did create like a little box. He's got whatever blood slaves he's got. He set up a little Sabbath that he's going to do some stuff with. He's got some swordsmen and some crossbows from the fort garrison. And Caelum's going to hit him with a whole bunch of Draconians. If I remember right, I think this is going to be something like Marble Army and maybe Strength of Giants or something. Got 2 summon Earth Powers. This guy is low enough protection he could get sniped. He is Twiceborn though. Okay, Giant Strength Warriors. Kinda, they missed a lot of these. So Pyrene makes a few imps. Loss of the earth. So this is the 3rd Heavenborn, a hero with a magic weapon, trying to help finish things out for Caelum. I thought we were going to get a protection spell, but it doesn't seem like we did. Or maybe I just missed it. Alright, so he does take it. Let's go ahead and take a look here. So we got Giant Strength Warriors. And this guy, Giant Strength Warriors, Temper Flesh, Personal Iron Skin. From the Pyrene side. Sabbath Master Hell Power. Interesting. So he tried to do a little bit of a Hell Power bomb. Reinvigoration. Looks like a pain transfer Sabbath as well. Cambion count. Let's see, we've got Bloodlust. Yeah, we do have a pain transfer Sabbath. We've got Acid Spray. So what that lets the Sabbath slaves offset one, like if they take fatigue damage, and you can take more than 1 fatigue damage if it's too much fatigue. But every spell that gets cast, it lets them take 1 fatigue damage and pass that off to a blood slave. So you can burn it a little bit hotter. And yeah, we have Sabbath Slave. Got Oopsie, Oopsie Daisy, and Oh No. Okay. Sabbath Slave. Other Sabbath Master, so mostly used for imp spam. Not too much else. Probably just didn't have a lot else. Just really never got off the ground, given everyone else took expanders pretty much. All right, but it does manage to kill 69 Draconians and gets to go play a different game for a little bit or join a new game. So good game to Cetis and good game to Pyrene. Well done, guys. And thank you for fighting it out to the end. Very much appreciate it. And it does make the games a lot better when people actually put a little time and effort into their cap defenses. So I appreciate that. Between you guys and Patala, you really handed out quite a few casualties to folks. So yeah, don't go down without a fight. And I appreciate all three of these players for having that sort of attitude. All right. And we've got two more fights. So we've got an assassination. So the Bloodhenge Druid is bloodhunting in low dominion, but it doesn't matter because they've got bodyguards. And then we've got independence. So we've got a fair number of wolves. Okay. And yeah, so let's go ahead and jump, I guess, a little bit closer. So we can see the steel ovens is under siege. Marion has moved throughout this entire cave. And let's see, where's Agartha? And so we had the, I guess it was the big fight here. Okay. So Agartha defends Bountiful Land, smashes the Atlantis army. Atlantis did have a couple of retreat routes. They should be able to get stuff away. They've got commanders here. They've got commanders here. So they can fall back to regroup and lick their wounds. We do have a kind of follow-up force for Agartha. He didn't lose a lot of troops in this battle. So I don't know, maybe selling this farmland was a little bit premature. Because, I mean, at this point, this is a position where you can drag this war out for a long time. There's no reason to sell the farm, I don't think, just yet. You can definitely make it more dangerous for Atlantis and try to set a new front line. You can coordinate a little bit with Man if you wanted. Like maybe Man could look at this fort, or you could try to come over here and break some sieges, get production going, retake some territory. In terms of his candles, though, which is what I'm most concerned about. So this is Dream Atlas sales rep. Oh, I forgot to check. Did the dragon die? No, the dragon got away. So where'd the dragon go? Oh, it went on to Agartha. Okay. So how are we looking? Okay, so Agartha's still got enough dominion. All right, they have a little bastion in the south, so they're not going to get Dom killed just yet. And if they retake this Cradle of Faith, that should help. They also took this fight in the dead of winter, so they can. So as we head into the summertime next year, it will be a little bit easier for them to fight. At least with their scales troops against Atlantis, but they're going to have to push back some of these cold scales a bit. And that could take 3 to 4 months. Hopefully they didn't sell their stuff too cheap. I mean, it could just be people vulturing too. But, I mean, this is still a reasonable enough position. You can keep trying to play it out and keep trying to play the diplomatic game. Okay. For Atlantis, I think they've got to be really concerned about Marignon getting involved. Marignon, I know it looks like a small border, but they do have sailing, so they can sail over all of the Atlantis home territory. It's just harder for them to get in the water. So they can make life absolutely hell for Atlantis and vice versa. And maybe Agartha could climb back into it. I don't think too many people would be too upset about that. It would help if they took the Throne of Earth, because then they could go down both coastlines. But in some ways, it does make it a little bit easier because you don't really have to guard the Throne of Earth. You just have to guard these two to guard your interior. And you can sail raid, I think, like 7 provinces. So that can be absolutely aggravating for Atlantis. He's got a pretty big army here in Satis that could maybe think about doing that too. I think that would be a good direction for Marignan. Another direction that they could take that would also be really profitable is invading Man. And trying to finish off Man. There's a couple of advantages to that. It kind of gives you a little bit more continuity to your realm. You get 3 caps, but if you go all north to south, it kind of shortens distances a bit as long as you're, going in the right direction. If you go left to right 3 caps, it's kind of the same thing. For 12-player games, it can really elongate your empire, but if you've got a triangle shape, what is this? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to Man's cap. But if you're just walking straight, it's 8. Kind of like going the other way. Like if you go this way, or if you go way over here, then getting stuff home can take a while. I don't know. It's not as bad because it's a 3x3. But I kind of like things being centered within a few provinces of my capital if I can afford it. This is a pretty far point away. It's 7 away. Whereas this would just be 4. This would just be 4. So if you're trying to send stuff from the capital to go help, it's nice. Especially I think for Marignon, don't they have some? They might have mages that can teleport. Yeah, so I think they've got a new blood magic teleport that I think their cap onlys can use. What's that called? Pull down just rituals. Am I crazy? I thought there was a teleport. Maybe I'm thinking of a mod. Good grief. Or, oh, maybe Omniscience doesn't have it. Give me 1 second. Okay, it's called Hellride, and it's a blood force spell for 10 blood slaves. Okay, So that's an option for the Goetic Masters to get around. Good grief. Okay. As just an aside, it's really annoying that I don't have the full spell list. If you can't trust your omniscience to not fuck with the game, probably shouldn't be having them play omniscience. Okay. Let's go ahead and... Who have we not talked about? I don't think we've really talked about Man and Caelum Tianchi. So for Man, he's recovering from his pretty big defeat in Kedra, but Tianchi didn't push the issue. And it seemed like Tianchi instead pivoted and went, because I believe he used the cat here and he had a field army here, so he pushed the field army into Solkar, which was the swamp. And I think we discussed the possibility of this because there was a fair number of supplies here. And indeed, that is where we got the big Tianchi Caelum battle. So Tianchi is going to have to try and recover from that a bit, but I think Caelum might try to push. Now, Caelum might know about this stuff, but Caelum's got all these freed up Draconians. He's got Raven Guard here. He's got a backup force to guard a line of retreat. And he's also got some more Raven Guard over here. Now, these can't make it to Feldon, but they might be able to help out in taking Toledo. These barbarians here are a little bit annoying. So we'll have to see what Caelum does there. I don't know that he has enough movement to get over here. I don't think so, but he might. Tianchi does have some flyers that he's recruited. He's got Celestial Hounds. On the other side, though, all that pressure that we were talking about from Caelum, some of that is starting to manifest. So nothing here, and this stuff was patrolling. But we did get a lot of pressure around this throne because there's not a lot of stuff in this area. So I do think he's going to try and cut off the Throne of Death and take that. And then we do have an ever-growing number of Draconians here at the crypt underneath. We've got the new Caelum army here. And that may very well try to push into Nashin. We'll have to see. But yeah, I mean, Caelum's just expanding like crazy, which is, it's a little bit funny because they were a little bit slow to get off the ground. But, I mean, it seems like they've played the diplomatic game extremely well because they've essentially got Pyrene for free because, well, it wasn't free. They had to fight Man off of Pyrene. But they chose a timing where it was right after Man fought a really big battle with most of Pyrene's stuff. So when I say that, I mean, like, Pyrene didn't have a lot of stuff. But they did fight Man off of that. And then they were still, they were still communicative enough with Man to be able to flip the script on Tianchi with Man, while keeping a lot of those spoils that they stole from Man. And then they've also managed to get a little bit of Agartha as well, including this really nice farmland. So this is a tremendous amount of gold. So, I mean, Caelum's just rolling right now. They've got a huge fleet of Draconians. They haven't done the full buff script that I think they've talked about. I thought they were going to do maybe some Marble Army, but they may not want to do that in the cold, but it wasn't cold up here. So you might have to be a little bit worried about Grip of Winter or something, but I mean, we've got Shade Beast now coming out. So it's gonna be a tough time for TNG, and from TNG's side, I'm not seeing the kind of troop recruitment that I think can stop this Caelum push. It seems like Caelum's putting a lot more emphasis on troops than TNG is right now. From TNG, I'm seeing, we've got some Barb Heavy Horse out here in these forts, but it seems like a lot of fort garrisons. There's very little out actually running around. I mean, we've got this group out here. So he killed 26 Draconians here. And this might have been a patrol out, which would not show up in my messages feed. No, because these guys aren't stealthy. We did see this. But like, we've got the one mobile force. This army got defeated. We've got another mobile force here. So we've got 2 raiding groups out in the wild, but from Caelum's point of view, I think we've got 3. We've got an army and 2. And we've got 2, 3, maybe 4 in an army. So Caelum, I think, is just going to be putting out more raiding pressure, at least until TNG responds and moves stuff out of forts. So I'm just hoping he doesn't wait too long to try and catch some of these raiding stacks. I think he did a pretty good job to catch this one because it protected all this income. Although Caelum would have to take both of these to cut off the income. Although this is kind of weird. This is... okay, it is on the left. Alright. So, very interested to see how Caelum pushes after that victory and how TNG tries to stabilize the line. For Agartha, I want to see them push out. They might lose some stuff because, I mean, there's still a dragon. There's still a fair number of Atlantis troops out here, but they've killed so much. They really need to get a force out here to free this fort. They need to clear up this section of the raiding and reestablish a front line is, I think, what I'd like to see. So, reestablishing a front line, maybe you could raid up into Range of Faith. And maybe have another, like, kind of like your army, start going over here, clearing up some of this, and this group can split into different raiding parties to try and take out Atlantean groups. But, I mean, you've given up so much territory. You really got to get out here and get some of it back, get your income up, and try to make hay out of this loss, because Atlantis is going to put together another army. They've still got a lot of mages. I don't think they mobilized a lot of mages for this. I mean, they had a couple of thugs, but 7, 11, 12, 13, 14. We're talking 14 mages. I mean, it did include their pretender and a pretty big thug. And they had a Lumber Construct thug, but Agartha also had their pretender. And I think their pretender did more useful stuff. He also brought 18 mages. For instance, because we know the Dracolich did Rigor Mortis. What did the Sage do? Besides Curse of Stones. Oh, again? Okay. Then we've got Moths of the Earth. So... but the downside of Curse of Stones is it's not going to impact all the new skeletons that the Dracolich makes. And sepulchrals are already pretty low melee encumbrance. So giving them more fatigue when they move around, I mean, they're going to recover fatigue as well. So I don't know. Like they're gonna handle this environment a lot better than the Atlantean troops. So yeah. I think the difficulty for Agartha is you can't rigor mortis every province every turn, and they still haven't figured out a solution to the raiding game for Atlantis. So to me, I think that was the. I understand the time pressure. You want to finish your war because you've got a free agent in Marignan on your north and south border, and they just killed Cetis, so they're a super proper free agent now. And I'm not sure what you do about that outside of maybe trying to sell them on Taking Man. And then you hope you get an opportunity to coalition them later. But you definitely don't want them attacking you. And so I wonder if he was in a hurry to try and finish the war, take a big fight, and then siege down forts really quickly. But the danger in taking a big Doomstack fight is if you lose, now your opponent gets to blast that in the game chat, and it can actually ruin your position, whereas he probably would have been okay, maybe losing even 20 or 30 ice guard a turn just to that army roaming around, but taking everything else and maybe trying to dom kill Agartha, or just continually trying to pressure until he got better research online. But it seemed like the counterplay thinking to rigor mortis here was Spell Ward is going to keep my mages awake, and they're going to out skelly spam the Dracolich and kill the sepulcrals. But other than that, I didn't see a lot of effort to try and deal with it. So, because Curse of Stones will put things to sleep, but it won't keep them asleep. When it comes to the sepulcrals, they will wake up. They'll just probably go to sleep every time they move. So I'm not sure what the plan is there. I don't know what research he was going for. I mean, we can see where Spell Ward is. Where is that? Is that enchantment? So that's enchantment 4. Yeah, I haven't seen any indication that he's broken into Nature 5 to do relief. So I think then you do want... Oh, I'm not allowed to Twiceborn, but Twiceborn I believe is enchantment 4. I think the play for Atlantis, at least the play I would do, and I'm curious what other people do, I think the play is you Twiceborn some of your big cap onlys, and you just try to out skelly spam the Agarthans. The Curse of Stones was great because it knocked out all the blind fighters until rigor mortis set in, and then they never woke up again. But he needed something that could kill under rigor, and in particular kill a Dracolich, or at least HP route it. And I think the answer to that was white mages. Because he, at least from what I've seen, he doesn't have the nature to do some of the other counterplay, like relief and maybe Ravenous Swarm. So I'm not sure what he's researching, but it doesn't seem to be quite there yet. And now he's got to worry, because this army might try to clear the capital, and this army might try to just go up to Mountains of Madness or go sit on Atlantis. And that would be pretty problematic, especially if like little raiding groups were coming off of that army. But Atlantis still has a lot of troops. Fewer than Agartha, but their troops are also better than the Agarthan troops in like in regular fights without too many mages. And they work pretty well against the body ethereal paint buffing. So I don't know. Atlantis isn't out of this, but if Marignon gets involved on news of this defeat, like if this swings Marignon to attack him rather than Man, I think Atlantis is going to be in a lot of trouble very quickly. So we'll just have to see how the diplomacy shakes out and how aggressive Agartha gets. All right. Let's see. How's the throne picture doing? We haven't really looked at thrones in a while. Yeah, nothing too crazy. You have to get 6 to win, which out of 12 thrones is pretty significant. So that's controlling your column or row, since that would be 6 thrones. But that would be kind of like completely controlling it, because you'd have to get access to all 6. And it's pretty easy for a couple of different players to end up with like one of them. And so what often ends up needing to happen is you often have to win 3 wars. So you have like your early game, your mid game, and your late game war, and then you win. And somewhere in there in like the late mid game, somebody tries to throne rush. And probably likely that that fails, but then oftentimes there's the second throne rush and that might succeed. At least in my kind of like intermediate games. I don't know if advanced play is different. So, but yeah, looking forward to seeing how this goes. Looking forward to seeing what Marignon decides, how this war shakes out between Caelum and Tianchi, if they get left alone or if Marignon gets involved in it. And how Agartha tries to make use of this new political capital he's gained and military momentum. So, yeah, we'll have to stay tuned. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. We had 2 really nice big battles in this one. And I'm looking forward to seeing how the rest of these wars go. And I want to see what Atlantis has been researching pretty soon outside of Curse of Stones. So I hope we maybe see some more magic out of them soon. I will see you guys next time. Have a good one.